Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. Today we're gonna share something very intimate and it's regarding our birth story and Luna's birth story. And how can you still have an amazing, positive birth even if things didn't go the way you planned to, because that's what happened in my case. So there are so many things to talk about, but I'll focus on the key points because, you know, having a baby takes over a year and Luna is going to be 4 months in 2 days. We just decided to share it right now because we're ready.
I'll jump in as and where I can, especially from the guy's perspective, because it's a very different experience, obviously collectively and then independently. You know, in terms of what you go through and where your kind of responsibilities and your focus is. So I'll jump in as and where I can, but obviously Silvia did most of the work, thankfully. But yeah.
Well, first of all, it's been exactly a year because we found out about being pregnant last April. It was Easter and it was beautiful news. So it's about a year now. I'm very grateful because my pregnancy was healthy and easy. I'll just address key points which I struggled with. For example, the first trimester I had nausea in the mornings, and because you worked with pregnant women in the past, you coached them. The first thing Cengiz told me, oh no, you have to eat because if you have nausea, the fastest way to, you know, overcome it is just have snacks and eat, which was very weird because when you have a nausea, you don't want to eat, right? So
yeah,
that was
if
like...
you're feeling sick, the last thing you want is to eat, but actually I hear from so many people that actually eating something actually helps alleviate the feeling of nausea. Yeah,
so that might be helpful for ladies who are pregnant out there. And I wanted to say another thing very important was to train during my pregnancy. I trained
to
exercise, exactly. Well, because I was quite healthy, my midwife told me that actually I could exercise the same way as I did before, just be more careful. Like I was kickboxing, just don't kick so heavily. Not that I am a professional.
Yeah, I think the thing is to not introduce things that are new. If you've been doing stuff, you know, if you've been doing cycling, running or kickboxing, you know,
you could carry on the same way until about 5 months. That's when I stopped running.
No contact, obviously no sparring, just like hitting the bag, hitting pads, kickboxing, boxing training, but not actually getting hit yourself. But yeah, you can carry on until you know when, right?
Yeah, well, I remember we were in Italy on holiday and I love jogging by the beach, and I knew I can't run anymore, and I was 5 months pregnant. So I was just having really long walks and a lot of yummy snacks with Italian food. That's what, like, everything, all my diet.
Croissant.
Yeah, I was craving that so badly. I was just, about a month before our holiday, I was like, I can't wait to go to Italy and have cappuccino croissant. So we had that a lot of naughty meals. But this video is not about that. It's about the positive birth. So having said that, exercising and having, you know, snacks at the right time to overcome your nausea, overall I had really healthy pregnancy, and I'm so grateful for that. You were very supportive all the way through. I think I stopped exercising completely about when I was 8 months pregnant. Yeah, 7.5, 8 months, I just gave up. I can't do anything. But by then, till that point, we were doing yoga together. I was still joining you at the gym, seeing everybody exercising hardcore, and I was just, oh, okay, I'm gonna do little bits and pieces. So what I found out, being like first time mom, I didn't know anything obviously, so I started to read books, watching videos. We joined an NCT course. For those of you from other countries, this is like a couple of weeks course for new parents in your area, so you get to meet other new parents and new friends, and talking about different options. So that was really, really helpful. I know a friend of mine in LA asked me, well, how do you know what to do when you're a mom? I was like, well, you read books, you follow mainly your instinct, and this course was really helpful, the NCT course. So I would recommend, if there are courses in your area, just because it helps to socialize with.
Yeah, I think there are similar organisations, but it's a really good way to get like the essentials. And if you're, I think it stops people feeling completely overwhelmed, and you get to meet other people who are having babies, and I know that you now have a kind of like support group. You talk once a week on Zoom now. We're in lockdown in London.
Yeah.
But you create a support group, and you're able to share
different stages during pregnancy, and then when the baby is here with you, what happens and what you're going through, and share with other moms. It's very, very helpful. So I'd recommend that. Also, read as much as you can, just to inform of different options. So a book my neighbor gave me is a Positive Birth book. It's something I found very helpful. And that's when I maybe I overdid it, because I had in my mind a perfect birth, being in a pool, and we're very blessed because we live near the Kingston Hospital, and they actually provide birthing pools in my imagination I had this ideal birth, listening to relaxing music, being in the water.
I was going to be in an inflatable, having a little cocktail, little snorkeling.
So I was just imagining all these things, and reading this Positive Birth book also gave me the idea, okay, you have to create a birth plan. Also, the midwife told me at a certain point you have to create this birth plan, what you would like in the ideal world. What I didn't know is that 90% of the time your birth plan actually goes out of the window. So that's what happened in our case. And I think that's going to be the main topic of this video, because that was my ideal world, being relaxed in the pool and just going through the contractions and having relaxed time in between, and then again and then the baby's out and happy end. But no, I was 41 weeks pregnant, became very big, and suddenly I had this feeling of, I actually feel very comfortable being pregnant. And I think I started to being really scared of actually giving birth. So I think subconsciously I would just, oh my God, I really don't want this to happen. I would rather be pregnant another month.
Yeah, and I think that when you're consciously or subconsciously tense, it means that the baby's not going to come to in the 40 weeks or 41 weeks, because you're actually contracting, so it's harder for you to relax, for the baby to start to make its journey out.
Yeah, but we were still safe, because for the first child, usually the first child is always later than the due date. So I was 41 weeks, and I was still like enjoying the pregnancy, even if I was massive and I couldn't sleep at night. Also, another thing is, I would suggest not to listen to negative birth stories. So for example, my mom and a very close friend of mine, they both had terrible birth stories, and just listening to that, it's like, oh my God, because my mom had that, but it was 30 years ago, and in Moldova, which doesn't have all the facilities that London has. So, but listening to that, it's like you're scared.
That's why you shouldn't listen to the news 24/7. Slightly digressing, but be careful, obviously where you get your information from. And if you're constantly listening to negative information, it has an impact on you.
Yeah. So what the midwife said, okay, if you're not starting contractions, if you by whatever Tuesday, on Tuesday you're gonna be induced. And when I heard that, I don't want to be induced. So the thing is, I really don't in our life we try not to take medicines if we don't really need. We have a healthy lifestyle, we eat healthy, exercise. So I really don't want any chemicals in my body unless it's completely necessary. So hearing the fact that I needed to be induced put me on another pressure. I really don't want to do that. So what I did, I took massive walks during the day because it helps. And I actually started to be okay, now I'm ready. I want the baby to be out.
And we got a Swiss ball, and Silvia was bouncing up and down on this ball.
But just one day. I watched these YouTube videos of exercises while you're pregnant if you want to naturally induce on this ball, which was actually pleasant and comfortable to do these exercises. I just did that for a day. I walked every day, really long walks, but I was doing exercises on this ball. But I think I just consciously I decided, okay, I'm gonna naturally start the birth. And what happened is on a Saturday, about 5 a.m. my waters broke. Whew. And I was quite excited when I saw that. But what we didn't expect, talking about the birth plan, is that actually my waters had meconium. And for those of you who don't know, meconium is the baby's first poo. And it can be, usually, most of the times it's fine, but it can be dangerous if the baby is in liquid inside the meconium. If they inhale it brings infection to the baby, but it rarely happens. Anyway, we went to the hospital at 5 a.m. we were there, and nothing I planned happened. I was planning a pool, I was planning a chilled way of giving birth. What happened is, because you have meconium, they have to monitorize the mom and baby, so they put this equipment on me. I don't even know what it's called.
They put a reader so they can keep a contact of the mother's and the baby's heartbeat. So you're being monitored. So you can't go in the pool because of that. Also, we can't. We couldn't be in the ward we wanted to be in because of the fact that you needed to be in the
we had to be in the labor ward.
Yeah.
So basically where doctors are, and if you need immediate help. All of that started to make me upset, which is the worst thing during the birth, because you have to be relaxed so you can bring the baby to the world. But because it didn't go my way, I started to get really tight, and meanwhile Luna was very happy because her heartbeat all the way through was stable.
Yeah, she was calm the whole way through.
Yeah, so we what happened is we went to the labor ward. We had an amazing midwife who was following my birth plan. So I wanted everything natural, which probably was a bit of an exaggeration, because what I did hypnobirthing, listening to meditation for the next 12 hours. Not 1 hour, not 2, but 12 hours. No painkillers because I refused to have them. And the pain started to be really unbearable. Also because the doctors were worried about the baby, they wanted to accelerate the whole birth. So usually what happens, the waters break, and you have about 12 hours. If everything is fine, the doctors would send you back home. You could leave those 12 hours just preparing for your contractions to grow faster and faster, and but usually at home in a chilled environment. In my case, because it was meconium in the waters, we had to be under observation. Yeah. So, and also they decided, okay, we have to accelerate. It can't be like, you can't go home. It can't be 12 hours of chill time. You have to be here and we have to do it as fast as possible. And they put a drip on me. This is like, I really was against any medicine and chemical in my body, but it happened. So because of that, the contractions started to be really painful. And I was getting very upset. So I remember when we spoke about different options, Cengiz immediately said, oh no, I'm gonna be there with you. And I said, why would you want to see that? And actually, I'm so grateful Cengiz was there. So one of my tips is like, if your partner can be there with you, it's so, so helpful. I really don't know what we would have done without Cengiz, because just having that support and protection, like psychological protection, knowing that the person who loves you is there, is really calming. Rather than having strange people, doctors and midwives, who are amazing, by the way, but they're strangers. So next step, so after 12 hours of no painkiller, there was no progress in my birth. And what happened...
you were only 3 centimeters dilated.
Exactly.
So,
which is not good news, especially when you have meconium in your waters.
But I just want to say, by which point Silvia was completely exhausted. There was no way that she was going to be able to go another 12 hours in the state that she was in. She'd started to become delirious, and was not willing to...
take painkillers.
Or to even entertain the idea of any support or help. And so at which point, for the guys out there, is where you have their best interests at hand, your partner, and you can see that she's not making great choices and she's not really listening to the doctors, which is when you need to step in. But you've got to do it in a very loving and managed way. But we had to have a conversation that was difficult. I had to try and get through to Silvia that she needed to have an epidural, because I could see that she was going to end up being prepped for surgery. And actually we had all the doctors in, the surgeons in, so I knew that they were considering that if this goes on any longer, she was going to be wheeled off to the operating theatre to have a cesarean, C-section.
Which is a nightmare. But I remember the gas. I started first pain relief with the gas, and it really didn't help much. It would just make me feel drunk, but pain-wise it didn't help. And I was so against epidural, just because all the information I read about positive birth and everything. But what I would suggest to new moms is be really open-minded, because if I was more open to options and didn't stick to my first birth plan, I probably had a better, less painful experience, because overall it was really good, apart the pain.
Yeah, and the epidural was administered by an anaesthetist who was amazing, and she basically just set it so it was just enough to take the edge off, but still that Silvia could feel everything.
Yeah.
But it meant that she could rest, she could eat, she could recover, and she could get ready to push when the time was right to push.
Yeah.
And that's where you really need to listen to the experts and the doctors and the midwives around you, because they do this day in and day out. And you weren't really listening at first. And
because I think from the sources I read all the negative things about epidural, that you're getting numb, that you don't feel the baby, which it's not true. You just, in my case, it wasn't as true because of the drip, which was accelerating my birth. It was more painful than it would have been naturally. So I really needed a pain relief to relax.
Yeah, the intensity of the contractions was magnified times 10 because of the being induced.
And so I think all those negative beliefs about epidural came from wrong information, because actually that was really helpful, and I did feel the baby. They administered the epidural, and a couple of, like, maybe 15 minutes later, I was pain free. Or at least considering what I've been through the first 12 hours, it felt like no pain.
Yeah, it probably went from
all.
100% to like 30%.
Yeah, but it was,
could manage.
Yeah, and I was feeling the baby moving. I felt my legs. I could move my legs. I could, try different positions on the bed rather than just on the birthing ball. So it was really a positive experience having that. Because as you mentioned, it was a very small dosage, but it made me relax and really enjoy giving birth at that point. And I remember we had, like, after 16, 17 hours into labor, we finally had a snack, and I had some naps, which I thought it's impossible to have a nap while you're having contractions, but
yeah, you had a little sleep.
I had some sleep. And it felt like, such a relief and the joy to actually enjoy those contractions and know that Luna is going to be with us very soon. And my second midwife, which was this older lady, she was so much fun. She basically, she looked at my birth plan, she looked at me, and then said, okay, I'm not even gonna ask. I'm gonna tell you what you have to do next. So basically after 12, I think active labor was 6 hours of active labor, which means you're getting ready to push the baby. And when the time came, I think in 3 hours from the epidural, I was already ready to
you're fully relaxed, you're fully dilated.
Yeah, like in 3 hours, which didn't happen in the first 20 hours because I was so stressed. So this is a big advice to you guys, to ladies. Just be really open-minded and read about the positive birth experiences and try hypnobirthing. And if you're lucky enough to do to bring the baby out into the world using the pool, that's amazing. But if things happen like meconium in your waters, you just have to change.
You've got to be flexible. You can't hold on to an idea and a plan, especially if it means that it could be a risk to you or the baby. So you just have to be flexible, I think, with it. And for the guys, or whoever's in the room with you, because it might not be a guy with you, it might be a family member, whoever. Just that they need to they just need to be cool, calm, and collect. Make sure they've got snacks with them, things that are high energy based for your partner and for yourself.
Drinks.
Lots of hydration, lots of water.
What was the drink you used? I never had it.
Isotonic. So Lucozade Isotonic was a drink I brought. A couple of those I brought with me for Silvia, because it's like a marathon. It can be like doing a marathon. It's not a sprint. If you're lucky, baby comes out really quickly. But if in this situation, it's a lot of hours that you're having to that you're burning energy, and it's exhausting.
A lot of calories.
Yeah. So, and I would just say that just that whoever's with you needs to be that kind of like that trusted voice who speaks calmly but with clarity, and it's with their best interest at hand. And so, thankfully, this older midwife who was caring after us, so when the time came, pushing the baby out, and I'm gonna be straightforward, I'm gonna tell you exactly what she told me. She said, forget about all that breathing videos you saw and all that, just think about having a poo. Like, really simple. That's how you push the baby out. And you guys can close your ears and not listen, but the girls, if you're gonna go through this, you better know that when you have to push the baby out and you want to push the baby naturally, think about having a poo. So literally, it's
all those hypnobirthing and everything went out of the window. I had to listen to this lady. I was so exhausted, but I had to, at least that part, to do it naturally. And in 20 minutes of following her advice, Luna was out with us. Very healthy child, natural birth, with epidural, but still everything else went positively. Meconium didn't get into her body. They immediately examined her, and she was just perfect, and it was amazing. It was such a relief. You can't even describe it in words. After all that adventure, and you see this little creature so vulnerable in your hands, there is no words to describe. It's just happiness, and it makes you forget about everything you've been through because you have this wonderful healthy baby in your hands. So it's really worth it.
We had skin to skin with her.
Cengiz had skin to skin. I had to deliver the placenta, which before being pregnant I didn't even know you have to do that too. So again, for new moms, when you deliver the baby, things don't end there. Next couple of minutes you have to deliver placenta, but that's nothing. It's just okay, it's out. Because the baby's the main thing. So Cengiz had skin to skin, then I breastfed her, and it was amazing. It was really amazing. And then we had, I'm really grateful for all the staff at Kingston Hospital. I just was all the people who worked there it's just so trained and so wonderful and caring.
You don't necessarily get the same midwife because they're on shifts. So we went through 2 midwives, but the consistency throughout the whole. I mean, the NHS is. If you're in England, the NHS is amazing. Anyway, I've always been so grateful for the NHS, but Kingston Hospital was a phenomenal experience, and the whole team, everybody we worked with, met with, were just so. Yeah, they just do what they do very, very well. It's a very well-oiled wheel, and grateful to have that, 10 minutes from where we live.
Well, even if we move somewhere else, I think Kingston would be the place to go because it's really, really amazing team and wonderful people. And after all that, Luna came to the world at 4:04 in the morning. And it was just wonderful. And then we had the most amazing piece of toast you'd ever have because
toast never tastes so good.
Exactly. They brought toast and tea, hot chocolate, and then we had Luna next to us. It was just such a blast. And you know what? Even if it was like painful for the first 12 hours, everything else went really, really well. So I have to say I had a positive birth experience because of all the people involved, because Cengiz was there to guide me to make better choices when I wasn't actually prepared to. And and basically she came to the world at 4 a.m. and then at 6 p.m. the same day we left to go home because everybody was in good shape. Luna is healthy. I was good, feeling good. So we were ready to actually leave the hospital. So overall it was 24 hours in the hospital. Yeah. I actually really enjoyed to be in the hospital.
Silvia would have happily stayed for a few days.
Because it was like a fancy hotel.
Yeah, but I think they want, if you're all fit and well and healthy, it's better that you come home because they want to avoid any unnecessary exposure to bacteria or viruses, etc. Because hospitals are places where people go with illness.
Yeah.
So that was
Yes, that was the summary of our birth experience. And now she's almost 4 months old, and everything changed in our life.
She's having a sneaky sleep in the back, otherwise she'd be in the video.
Exactly, but you're gonna see her anyway. I hope this video helps you guys. And if you wanna some more information on certain topics, and obviously we'll create more videos, like for example how to lose the weight. During my pregnancy I got 22 kilograms, which is massive. It's a lot, and I lost 10 of it. So I have 10 more to lose, but I'm exercising, and we'll create videos on that as well. And if you guys enjoyed it, please subscribe to our channel and like this video, and comment with anything else you would want to know, and help us create more helpful, useful content that can inspire new moms, new parents, and families. See you on the next video. Bye.
So this is for the guys, and they may or may not tell you this, especially if you don't go on an NCT course, but there will be poo and there will be blood.
Oh gosh.
So you have a choice of where you stand and where you look. But there will be poo and there will be blood. So I'm just being honest.
Yeah, but you better look at the face rather than on
So you
the
have
other.
a choice. You can stand halfway looking towards your partner's face, or you can stand at the end having the full view. It's up to you. Or you can stand at the shoulders looking down. It's up to you, but I'm just saying that some people may find it a little bit alarming and disturbing. Some will find it very organic. For me, it's the most natural thing that there is. I think, and my focus is always on Silvia's face and her eyes, because you can tell a lot by watching somebody's eyes, and how, especially when she was exhausted, to see where she was at, whether or not she was going to be conscious or unconscious, because when she was exhausted she was delirious, and that's when you pay real attention to your partner, and where you have to step up and step in, and so it's funny, but it's also true, and anyway, we're here, she's safe, we have a beautiful baby, and
And everything is gonna be fine. Just enjoy your pregnancy.
Don't read too much stuff, there's some great books out there. Read 1 or 2 books. Exercise. Be happy, be well.
Love each other.
Love each other and avoid the news 99% of the time.